At one time, there was a golden age, the age of greatness. Then there were the forgotten times. But now, we're in an age of darkness.
You're all pig!
But then came a time of two heroes, bringing back the awesome to slay the silliness of our woke overlords. We can only pray they are not too late.
Hello, my green skins. And tonight we're talking about a little-known film
Very little.
called Hawk the Slayer. And what was your thoughts about this little movie that could from 1980?
Well, all I can say is that it's an 80s movie that was built like a 60s TV show.
Yeah, well, that's about right. You know what? That's a little bit right, and that's a little bit off. I would agree and disagree. But this one surprised me because I remember watching this as a little kid. I saw this years ago, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna like this." Oh, when I saw this as a child, there's no way this is good. And it was fucking funny after watching it. I went, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Like this is what high fantasy should be, and this is what the Rings of Power should be.
But it isn't.
Yeah, the Rings of Powers is not.
It's far from it.
Yeah.
So, just to be clear, we're saying that this crappy movie with a budget of like 3 potatoes and $5,
yeah,
it is better than the multi-million-dollar Amazon show that is all the talk of the town right now.
Yeah, this blows the new Willow and the new fucking Rings of Power out of the fucking water.
Would you say it blows the old Willow out of the water too, or no?
No, the old Willow movie's amazing.
Okay, because I've never seen Willow, so I have no idea if it's better or worse, but so far I like this.
We're watching fantasy, trust me. We'll be watching a lot of fantasy in the next little bit.
It's Fantasy Month here on the History Channel.
No, it's fantasy. It's until the Lord of the Rings, I have an eternal quest. It is my goal to show all fantasy that's not shitty, that's worth watching and having a good watch, so that you have something to watch that you don't have to waste your time. Do not spend your money on the new Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Do not watch Rings of Power. Do not watch the new Willow. These are things that should fall to non-existent.
Well, here's the thing. You can watch it. Who cares? But it's going to be a waste of your time.
No.
It's going to be a waste of your time.
It's a waste of your time. We understand. Every once in a while, you want to stick a thumb up your ass.
Oi! I've got my finger stuck in me bum!
But look, if you're going to do that...
Yeah, babies want to put their fingers in light sockets, sure, but, they...
You really should.
Some people need to get burned, okay? Some people need to get burned by the stove to know that they had to stay away from it. That's how people find out about wokeness.
This Rings of Power is garbage, so my eternal quest is to show you better stuff. And this is better. Let's break down the story. It's going to be a quick one, but...
It's very simple. It's so simple, I love it. I honestly love how simple it is.
That's what makes it great. We are dealing with a D&D posse. It's a D&D campaign. It really is. You have our main hero, Hawk, who finds out from a one-armed man that his brother has been doing some slaying, and this is the opportunity to finally get his hands on his brother.
His, 90-year-old brother.
Sad thing is, okay, the actor who plays he is the only really downside, but the funny thing is he's a good actor, but he plays these over-the-top, super extreme characters.
Cannot you find happiness in your heart for our marriage?
No! You were mine once and will be again. Take care, little brother. Watch for me in the night.
I think he was 50.
Oh, that's what's weird. I don't even think it's over the top. It's incredible, because there's a slight difference between over the top and hammy. It's over the top is Nicolas Cage, you want to watch him do this. Here, it's the cringiest moments are when this guy's acting.
Okay, this guy can out-ham Jack Nicholson in the fucking Batman. That tells you something.
It's kind of like a Tommy Wiseau thing for me.
Yeah, he's kind of fun for that. But anyway, he can get in the hands of his evil brother.
You're tearing me apart, dwarf.
So he gets together with the one-armed man that wants revenge for his village, his women and children, everyone dying in front of him. He wants revenge. So he gets a giant.
Oh no, so what happened was that he encountered a witch randomly in the forest on his way to defeat his brother.
Yeah.
And then the witch helps him gather up this crew with hula hoops used as a teleportation system.
Yeah, and he gets himself a giant, a elf, which I actually kind of like as a character because of just how the way they made him look with his clothes look like bark.
And how he like talks like a robot.
My arrow hit first.
Delusional thoughts from Fantasy Island. You'll never get metal legs. Samantha is fucking Alex. No, she's not.
The sad thing is he does that for one fucking scene where he kind of seems like a robot, and it's just kind of this.
I am an elf. I have our elf pussy.
I am not amused.
And a dwarf that's actually quite fun. And
Peter Dinklage, look out! This dwarf has you.
yeah, this is an actual. This is a real dwarf, not a fake dwarf, and like a fantasy dwarf. Okay, his people are dwarves. He refers to himself as a dwarf. So you have this posse that join together with their witch friend, and they go to save the elderly sacred venerated mother. Which is kind of funny about that is that this is one of the few times where they did have the younger, prettier girl actually be the bad guy in a way, where she's the one that's the idol, like the young thing, where everybody else is older women. He saves an older woman. He doesn't save a love interest like that clear thought process of saving the love interest.
So he tries to save a mother, right?
He's saving a venerated mother, which is a sacred priestess, basically.
Okay, so he's trying to save the high priest, which, symbolically that makes a lot of sense. I don't want to get too far into it, but yeah, it's not the same as a princess. It's trying to save the inner mother, the inner anima. Yeah,
he's trying to save someone who's good. And it's a good story in that fact that it is a D&D posse. They go. He has a magic sword that his dad gives him at the beginning of the movie, which is like the first couple minutes of that movie.
Which is a great sword. It just has a hand on the pummel. And the hand grabs pummel, whatever, but Timon Pummel. But the hand is on the pummel, and then it grabs this floating glow stick that turns the whole entire room green. And then he's like, all right, now the sword's ready.
Yeah, the sword's the Mind Sword, it's called. And the Mind Sword is a cool weapon because it's like he can summon it to his hand at any time. He can fucking he can throw it with insane skill, and it fucking helps him deflect shots and stuff. So it's an interesting weapon. It's cool. It
kind of sounds similar to another kind of fantasy. Some kind of war among the stars.
You know what? I don't agree with you about the Star Wars thing. He reminded me of a paladin, like the Charlemagne or Charlemagne paladins, like the old school.
You gotta admit, though, a glowing sword that goes woo, woo, woo when it's blocking stuff, and it could also float around.
Yeah, Charlemagne's sword.
Or maybe the Star Wars got it from Charlemagne, then.
The wind cutter? The wing cutter?
Yeah, the windbreaker.
Yeah, is it the windbreaker? I can't remember the actual name of the sword. It was a cool sword because it was like it could cut through it would tear through shit. It's like...
Yeah, anytime you break wind, it activates.
I can't remember. It's like... No, that's not what happens. But okay, he gets a bat. So basically, his evil brother. You're stuck on this weirdest shit. So basically, his brother wants revenge. I guess it's a weird kind of story because his 90-year-old brother wants revenge because the younger brother gets the hot girl. The hot girl gets killed, and she basically nails him in the face and casts fucking because she dies. She casts the spell cause death and dying curse.
You think it's similar to that curse that the witch casted on the prince in Beauty and the Beast?
Oh, maybe.
Some kind of disfiguration thing that like causes the person to be ugly and people hate him.
Well, you know what? He's not ugly because it's not because he's ugly that people hate him. It's because he's murdering their fucking families.
I know, because the ugliness on the inside gets casted out into the outside.
Yeah, basically. He's in constant pain. And according to the witch, that the warlock or wizard that's working with him, he constantly is kind of like has to heal his face every fucking once in a while. So we have this hero who has to fight the most hammy actor that I've seen in something in a while. And the sad thing is they build him up to be a badass, and he goes out like a little bitch in that fight.
They build him up like he's unstoppable. Like, why did he need the whole posse? He didn't even need the posse. They just gathered them up for no reason. Well, to fill up the time, but...
No, he gathered the posse to fight the bad guys. And honestly, let's be honest, the posse the elf and the fucking guy with the automatic crossbow, goddamn fucking wipe out half the fucking army.
The two machine gunners mowing down everybody like Rambo and Rambo 4.
Yeah, fucking boom, 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 boom. The automatic crossbow and shit. That's fucking amazing. All that was fun. Like they really did. You could tell that people were having fun with this movie. And the ending ends with a cliffhanger, which we won't spoil it.
So the main bad guy gets revived by some kind of evil spirit, right?
Well, they don't actually. Again, they mention it, but they don't actually do it. So we don't know because there was never a sequel. I don't think they ever did do the sequel to this. Now, what did you think of the music to this movie?
Oh my goodness, it was like the most epic 80s kind of soundtrack to a fantasy story I've seen in a while. I'm not a fan of British stuff, but they have a way with music that really amazes me.
You know what it blows me away because it's very anime. Like, it has an anime feel to it from that old 80s anime style that existed back in the day. And it's really well done.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, they did an amazing job with this
anime.
I almost wanted to say anime, yeah. It's so well done, and they did such a beautiful job. And you have a character, and it works, too. Like
it pumps you up.
It does pump you up. Like, I've actually been using it to work out lately. I remember it. It's like... Like, Hawk the Slayer is amazing for music. Now, what did you think of what do you think of overall the set and all the designs and stuff? Like, we do have quite a few matte paintings, don't we?
We had like 4, I think. But, those things are goddamn expensive. But, so, when it comes to setting... That's why I consider it similar to like a 60s show, because they're limited on like locations they can have. They had the same forest over and over again. They had like a tiny swamp area with one snake to show the wildlife.
Yeah.
And they had like what was it, like the church or whatever?
Yeah, the church being to be the main spot. And they just...
Yeah, that's the main hangout.
Yeah, the church, the forest, and the river.
That's like the Zordon command center where everybody gets teleported. No, they had the cave, the witch's cave. That was like the command center.
Yeah, the witch's cave kind of was like, they surprisingly looked like the same cave that they had for the original, like for the evil wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it all kind of looked the same. It all had matte paintings.
But it didn't look bad, and that's actually really surprising.
No, and that's the thing I got to say about all the artwork and all like the characters and how they look. All of them look good. Like,
the costumes were really nice. The bad guys wore black like they should. The good guys wore like that the brown with green. Showed that they're like natural side. What was it? The elf wore like a bark parka.
It looked like, yeah, he kind of had like a weird bark look to it.
A barka? He wore a barka.
Yeah, and they all had a good look to all the characters. And then you had like the fight sequences were the only thing in this movie that make you go, ooh, because they're really not. Like, Conan, we can't deny it. Conan at the time was the fucking benchmark for a lot of stuff at that point, because you had some really good sword fights in that movie. It wasn't the perfect benchmark. Again, Lord of the Rings kind of... Well, actually, I would say...
Oh, that was like way later.
Yeah, you can't really... Well, there was the Lord of the Rings movie.
The animated one?
Yeah. The thing about Conan and these other fighting styles, they had a beautiful art style, beautiful fight sequences, but you can't really beat the fucking old wushu fucking Chinese martial art fantasy movies that were coming out.
Oh goodness, that's just too ridiculous. That takes, you know what? Like, I think half of the budget for those movies are just like hospital bills for the extras that get beat the fuck out of because they like all the stunts they had to do.
Yeah, but that old style of like, you can't beat that for fighting styles because you just had these epic sword fights.
For me, I say it's not fair.
Yeah, it's not fair.
It's not fair to compare them.
No, I would never compare this to that. It's just saying that,
yeah,
you know, anything that would be superior to that fighting style. Although, like I said, the fighting style in this is very, very retro, would be the best way to put it.
Yeah, before they had a CGI, they had to do like really quick cuts.
Yeah, they had the silly string.
Silly string and like glow sticks flying out of the doorway as like confetti flies.
Yeah, I still love the silly string moment. That was fucking hysterical.
And they had like that one cave that's supposed to be like this haunted house. It's literally just like a haunted house where they're like going across it with like spider webs.
That was the forest that had the weird fucking...
Like it's like a forest. It's like full of spider webs.
Yeah,
and there's like little puppets.
Yeah, little puppets bouncing around and making screaming noises.
Yeah.
It was, like, the guys at least kind of look good. The weapons look kind of good. Again, the elf and the guy with the automatic crossbow were fucking leveling everything, which is kind of very D&D style.
Yeah, they were the main, like, killers of the whole entire movie.
Yeah, the elf just sat there going, toot, 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 dropping the arrow and keep firing off.
Yeah, like 100 bodies drop every time they do that, and then like when it like pans out to like show the whole thing, it's like 3 people on the ground.
Yeah, you show like 8 people getting shot. It was very cool for the fight sequences. Like that's the sad thing about this movie because it was so low budget, and it was a very low budget movie. And it's sad because if this had real money, this would be epic.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't get because I do want them to have more money so that it looks better, but then I also fear corporate nonsense will get in the way to make it worse.
Yeah,
you know?
well, I heard they had a Kickstarter for the sequel. I wish that kind of came out.
Nah, who knows if that's going to be good.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. I heard rumor of it, and I don't think it ever got finished. Another one I wouldn't mind, if they ever made a video game of this, that would be fun.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think if it would be better as a beat 'em up or as a RPG. I don't know. It feels like maybe a beat 'em up.
I would do a shooter, to be honest, if I figured it.
And then it has like a railgun moment where you had like the automatic crossbow just shooting down like a bunch of people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you pick your character and you go on the adventure. Do, 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 do.
Yeah, and then like Sonic Adventure music starts playing as you play as the good guys or the bad guys.
Oh, why would you play Sonic when you have Hawk the Slayer?
Yeah, I would say the biggest problem with the whole movie is just the villain itself, because...
Yeah, he's too hammy.
Everything else was pretty solid.
Yeah, it was very solid. Like, there was some good acting. Like, the acting with the... I like the acting with the dwarf and the giant is hysterical as they're kind of, like, trying to one-up each other. That's very, very traditional.
Yeah, those moments were pretty wholesome, because they're, like, just messing with each other. And then it foreshadows the poisoning... Well, not poisoning, but the sleep potion that gets put into their food afterwards, and then they get captured.
Yeah. Well, no, it doesn't really foreshadow it. He makes a joke about holy food.
Well, no, that's a foreshadowing of the holy people putting something in the food so that they end up getting, like they have a consequence.
I don't know if that was or not, but that was kind of funny when he did that, where he's like eating the chicken. Yeah, I think the chicken's holy, and it's like, but he doesn't know if holy means holy. Like, he doesn't know if that's a bad thing or not. And another funny one was the scene with the crocodile. Like, they all had good roles. Like, even the elf guy, who didn't do much or say much, he still had moments where, he would sit there talking about how he felt like the longing and shit of wanting to go out into the forest and just, find his people, because he feels like he's the last one left. And that was very traditional. Like, this had a very Dungeons and Dragons vibe to it.
Yeah, it's really old-fashioned, which is what I like about it. There was no, like, trying to change archetypes or tropes.
Yeah.
Or trying to, like, deconstruct anything. It was fully trying to be the part of the monomyth that everybody liked from the old days.
And now it's just like, you see this bullshit now, and you're just like, ugh.
Well, because everything's trying to be deconstructed now. People go, oh, well, we have a hero who is a man. How about we make it into a woman? It's like, what did that do? You just ruin you just ruin everything about it.
You don't need to do that shit. I know, like making like that the Vikings where they made one of the more like a historical character a black woman. It's like, why?
You mean Assassin's Creed?
No, no, no. In Vikings Valhalla, it's funny because it ended up burning. It ended up like blowing it out because they pushed this as this huge fantasy of like this huge Viking story, which was based off real historical shit.
Yeah, but then it was as historical as that movie Outlander.
Yeah, it was, but that's basically what they were trying to do.
And if you haven't heard of that one, it's a movie about Vikings fighting an alien. I'm not fucking kidding. That actually exists.
Actually, this fucking, you know what's funny about that movie?
Yeah.
Do you know that movie's based off of a tabletop game, Traveler, from what I heard?
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the story I heard. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm all for that. That's fucking hysterical.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's not really historical.
No, it's not. Well, fucking, the one with Antonio Banderas being a Muslim isn't exactly historical either. Otherwise, it was just fantasy can be amazing, and it seems like the 80s was the golden age of fantasy.
I say fantasy is more amazing when it's more simple. I don't understand this complexity people want to put into fantasy. It's already complex enough when it's not part of our world. Why do you need to make it more complex?
Yeah, I know, and it kind of ruins it. I agree. Overall, yeah, I prefer this for a lot of reasons. Like, this could be, I've heard people say baby's first fantasy movie, and I would actually say there's anime that fits that bill way more, but I would say as a whole,
I think Portal fantasy is a bit better for little kids, because, you know, like Harry Potter is a Portal fantasy. There's this one shitty movie I really love as a kid called Magic Island, where this kid gets sucked into a book and he has to fight pirates.
I would say no. I would actually say this is a decent. This is something you could show your kids. It's actually wholesome.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, it's wholesome, and that's something you could show.
Yeah, there's no blood, no swearing. The only person that gets kind of brutally killed is that guy who gets his face smashed in by his own.
Yeah, the mace, and you don't get to see it.
Yeah, the hunchback who gets killed by his own mace.
Yeah, like they catch this big bad slaver because they're gonna steal his money to fucking, like, they free a bunch of slaves. They save all these people, and then he's like, okay, which one do you want? You know, he basically puts the mace in he puts a rope in the mace in the guy's mouth, and the guy just can't stop.
Yeah, the mace is dangling over his head. He's like, if you open your mouth to say something, you're gonna die. The guy starts talking, and this dies instantly.
Yeah, which is fucking funny. Which is actually
that's great. Your mouth gets you killed. It's all like a fable at this point. Like, every little thing, every little scene is like trying to teach you lessons.
Yeah, and this was really well done. Again, budget was shit for this movie, and I do give it a lot of praise for what it is. My favorite, like I said, we're going to be going into a lot of movies, like some real big ones, and some ones that are just beautiful and amazing. But for a starter, yeah, this is worth a watch. So what are you going to give Hawk the Slayer?
I say because the villain lacks a lot of, effort, and the story kind of feels a bit convoluted because they had to gather up the posse when they didn't really need to, but that's caused by the villain being weak.
Yeah.
I would give this movie probably like a 7.
A 7.
But for the remainder of it, it's, worth watching.
Yeah, it's about a 7 for me. I'd say a 6. I would say a 6.9 to a 7.
And it sounds like it shouldn't be a 7 with the way we're explaining it.
It really, yeah, which is fucking funny. It is a fucking solid 7.
But it's not bad of a story. It keeps you entertained throughout the whole time. And the only reason you'd hate it is if you don't like the low budget. And, at that point, you're just trying to be some kind of consumerist who doesn't like things that are putting effort into things.
Yeah, like this overall seems like it had heart. It had a lot of heart to it. And
I would say think of it like Evil Dead being low budget, but also being full of full of substance.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it overall. Like, hey, you know what? I look at it like this. This movie had an entire smile on my face the entire fucking time. So I'm not gonna fucking diss this at all. And this was good. And yeah, so overall a fucking 6.9 to a 7. And he gave it a 7. So next on the fantasy, we have quite a lot because I'm doing this for the entire time. We might have a little problem because I got some stuff to do, but we'll see how that goes. But we're thinking next is we're gonna do a fantasy anime. So we'll do 4 episodes of the anime, or I might even get the movie and we'll watch the movie. We'll see how I feel. I think I want to do just 4 episodes of the anime just to do one.
And let's see if I even want to watch the anime, because animes are too long for me, honestly.
That's why I picked 4 episodes.
Yeah. That's like a movie's length.
That's a movie's length. So that's worth a watch. And yeah, other than that, we might do that. We could do a fantasy cartoon, or we could do a childhood classic of mine, which had one of the most fucked up fucking man. This movie had a bitch time to get made. It was and it's actually considered one of the most beautiful and timeless fantasy movies of all time. So you'll have to figure out. Leave your comments. What movie I'm talking about is the most beautiful, timeless movie of a time. Or we could do something that's a pseudo fantasy. We'll see how I feel. All right, you guys have yourselves a very good one. Like, subscribe, and don't watch Rings of Power or the new Willow movie.
Later. Bye.